We got the PGA Tour playoffs are here. Playoffs? I hate that. Why do I have to say playoffs? I hate it so much. Guys, this is the start of the wrap-up of the season, the final 3 events starting now. Fairway to Heaven. We are live, breaking down the FedEx St. Jude Championship in 30 seconds. And a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter. You know the drill. Wherever you're watching, hit that like button, hit that share button, and hit that subscribe button. And please vote on the poll. If you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter, on YouTube, we have a poll on YouTube only. Do you like the new PGA Tour playoff structure with the no starting strokes? That's the poll question of the day. We're going to get into that in a minute, but please, first and foremost, like, share, and subscribe. And bring those questions. Drop those questions. As you can see, Jason looks a little different right here. He went out, got a little bit of a tan, Jason, and changed his name on the screen. Right. We're welcome back. Jason, unfortunately, for the next couple weeks will be MIA, as Jax is starting tackle football. And it's training camp for tackle football for the next couple of weeks. So Jason is MIA. So we got my man Rashad joining us. And Steven. Good evening, Rashad. How you doing?
Good to be back, guys. I could have worn my Michigan State football jersey to fit in with Jason. And but it's deep in the closet. I got to find it. So, but it's good to be back. An unprecedented third trip this season for me. So it's good to be here.
Last year, Steven was on like 3 times. Then he just became a regular fixture, and we just added him to the team. After a while. So I never know.
There you go. Yeah, right.
Steven, we are in the wrap-up of your first full season on Fairway to Heaven. Who would have thought we wouldn't have fired you by now?
I didn't think I was going to make it to barely the Masters. I thought after the first major, you know what I mean? I didn't qualify to get my card for the rest of the season or something like that,
Well, you have to finish in the top 50 so you can make it for all signature events next year.
Gotta keep it moving.
You gotta keep going it this week. Obviously, this week is a great event. It starts the playoffs on the PGA Tour, the FedEx St. Jude Championship. First and foremost, let me just throw it out there. I always recommend, and I always do this. Unfortunately, I have very little success at the St. Jude most years. If you guys want to make a donation, St. Jude is a fantastic charity and a fantastic event. I always recommend, if you're going to bet and you're going to play big money events, consider donating a small percentage of your winnings to St. Jude, everybody. So I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to talk about another fundraiser later in the show. But, guys, please consider making a donation to St. Jude. The playoffs. The poll question we're running on Twitter. Do you like the new structure? The playoff structure is still the same. Top 70 make it. Top 50 move on to next week with BMW. Top 30 the Tour Championship. But this year, they're doing away with the starting strokes in the Tour Championship, which means Scottie Scheffler's not going to start at -10 and Rory's not going to be -9. So everyone's going to start equal. So Scottie's going to have to beat everybody, in a couple of weeks at the Tour Championship. But what it does is it creates a reason for this to be 69 of the 70 golfers teeing it up this week. There is no Rory. He's choosing to skip it. And I know, Rashad, you're going to mention Tiger used to always skip an event. But I want to get your opinions, and we'll start with you, Rashad, as the guest. Thoughts on them eliminating the starting strokes at the Tour Championship and what it could mean, good or bad, for this playoff run here this year?
I don't really think it does anything, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the whole reason they put this starting strokes thing in place to begin with was because you had the dual winner. Xander would win the Tour Championship every year, and then there would be a different FedEx Cup winner, and it just led to this awkward moment on the trophy stand where they had to give out 2 trophies to 2 different people. And so they were like, okay, well, we want there to just be one finite winner. So they created this method, again, they on the fly, they created this, we'll just, we'll make it to be starting strokes. And then, so then you would have one winner at the end. And then for some reason, they just decided, okay, well, we're not going to do that anymore. And nobody really knows why. other than the fact that just the starting strokes thing was not very well received from the beginning, and they just decided to nix it mid-season. I don't really think it matters one way or the other. It's just going to be the playoff system itself is broken, so it's just different.
As I'm listening to Rashad talk there, Steven, I'm thinking obviously we have a potentially new commissioner. We've got we got like kind of a co-thing going on there with Moynihan and the other guy. Eventually, Moynihan's going to be gone. Could this new structure for this year honestly might not even last for more than 1 or 2 years till the other guy takes over 100% and then comes up with another idea, Steven? What are your thoughts on this whole, starting strokes being eliminated? Do you like it or you dislike it?
I like it in the terms of it eliminates that, like what Rashad was saying, that awkwardness for there to be 2 winners on Sunday. But it doesn't really, I guess I'm disappointed that they haven't done more, but I also think they're wanting it to fail in a sense, right? Okay. For it to be like, we need to change something, right? One of those changes I think they should have is there should be a miscut. Make it top 30. If that's what the last tournament's going to be, the Tour Championship is the top 30, why not make it the top 30 each week? I think there should be points taken away for missing the cut throughout the season so that it puts an emphasis on missing the cut in the playoffs. Make it a little bit more interesting and make Rory want to go, oh, shit, I might have to, depending on how well I did or didn't do, I might have to play, in the St. Jude's. I might have to play, another, or he missed, 2 signature events this year? So he might have to go. I might have to play a signature event, because for whatever reason, other people as well, if there's, negative points for a miscut. So I think they just got to do more, but I think ultimately it's set up to fail so that they can fix it.
I think that's very interesting. Rashad, what do you think of what Steven just said there? That it's first off, that it's set up to fail, and then everything else that he said there.
I think I actually love the idea of subtracting points for miscuts because it actually puts emphasis on the Thursday, Friday rounds, which, us that play DraftKings, obviously, and bet, we follow Friday. Friday is probably my most stressful day of the week because, you're always just, you're sweating your golfers making it through the cut line. And I think that it would make, because then it would allow them to really focus on it during the broadcast instead of just following the same 6 players every tournament. Now you're like, okay, well, if Andrew Novak doesn't make this putt on 18 and he misses the cut, then he's going to fall outside the top 70 and he's not going to make it to XYZ. I think it would create more drama throughout the season to have that. But speaking to the system set up to fail, I think that all of these things that they threw into place to combat the live situation are now coming home to roost. You have all of these points that go to the signature events, and look at what Rory did. He won 1 signature event and 1 major and won enough points throughout the season that he's able to skip the first event of the playoffs with only 3 events now, not 4. He's able to skip the first event and not feel like that he doesn't have a chance of winning the FedEx Cup. And it's because they stacked all of these events with no cut, with double points. So now, if all you have to do is be in the right place at the right time and your season is set.
Yeah, I think they got to make a way because, again, I hate the fact that Rory's not here. Like, it really annoys me that Rory's not playing. Like, when he skips a signature event, whatever, it doesn't bother me so much. He's not here in the playoffs, and it kind of annoys me. I'm a huge Rory guy. I was very happy that Rory got his career Grand Slam, and I know he's going through personal stuff. There's so much going on there. But it pisses me off that he's not here at the start of the playoffs. This is not football. You don't earn a bye week or whatnot. There's got to be some kind of penalty there that, or even penalties anyhow that, it's top 70, top 50, getting to all signature events and getting to the BMW top 30 Tour Championship. The amount of money that is on the line the final week for the Tour Championship, it's like $1 billion going to 30 guys. There's got to be some penalty mixed in there, whether it's missed cut, lost points, whatever it may be. When you take weeks off, you lose points, whatever it may be, to encourage these golfers to play more. And it does annoy me that Rory's not here. And, it's going to be something that really irks me a lot this week.
Well, it's amazing because
you're going to hear it so much. You're going to hear it repeated by, well, and Rory decided to miss this. And, I feel like it's going to fit into the narrative of a lot of people of how his lack of caring, and is it good for the game? Is it bad for the game? Does he care? All that. It's going to fit into that narrative of why, people really don't like him.
Yep. Go ahead, Rashad.
Well, I was just going to say, the whole point of this FedEx Cup to begin with was to make it more like the team sports. You have a dwindling down situation to a finite champion. But if let's say the Eagles, right? You guys were the 2 seed in the playoffs last year, right? Okay, so what if you just decided to not play Green Bay in the first round of the playoffs?
We're done.
You get eliminated. You're done.
Yeah.
So it's the system is they did it halfway. I liken it to the age limit rule in the NBA. It's like, well, what does 1 year really solve? Nothing.
Right.
You're still going to have kids coming out at 18 as opposed to making it like the other sports where it's 3 years or your 21st birthday, whatever. The fact that you could still have this system in place, and I mean, we've been doing this since 2007, and it's still basically the same structure, and they haven't fixed it. They really haven't done anything to fix it, and it hasn't become any more compelling. So what are we doing with this? I don't understand why they haven't fixed this.
The system is broken. I want to get to one of your ideas, Rashad, in a second that you said before the show, but I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the FedEx Cup standings, like the top 10, top 12 right now. And I'm sitting here and I see Russell Henley with the 4th most FedEx Cup. And this is not a knock on Russell Henley, but Russell Henley played the 2nd fewest amount of events out of anybody in the top 70. And he's 4th on the list. He's got 1 win. He's got a couple top 5s in big events, but really not much else. There was no penalty for him taking a light load this year. And he's sitting there at 4. Take a coast. Well, he is coasting. I mean, I think I saw nobody out in the top 30 has ever fallen out of the top 50, basically. So, I don't think anybody in the top 30 even missed the top. Anybody ever fall out of the top 30? Maybe 1 or 2. I know only 3 guys have ever bumped from the top 70 into the top 50, this week. So, there's not enough penalty mixed in there. And that really does annoy me a little bit throughout the whole season. Russell Henley should not be the 4th highest guy in the FedEx Cup standings if the point system was done right. All right, so Rashad. Go ahead.
Should the points rewarded, like the points given for whatever and everything for signature events, full field, majors, do you think they should switch those up and how much is awarded? Like, I almost feel like a major should be 1,000 and a signature should be half of that. And then you go half of that for a full field and, really put 50 more points for a major over a signature for when it comes to FedEx points wise it's like, that's all for winning, prestige golf, trophies and awards. So I think the point distribution should change.
Rashad, before the show, you mentioned an idea for the playoffs for the championship, and I want you to explain it because I thought it was very intriguing, honestly.
Well, I think that a lot of people, including myself, have said that make the match play the final event, make the tour championship a match play, and obviously the biggest pitfall of that is it's terrible for TV, right? Because you get to the bottom, you get to the last 2, you have 2 guys on the golf course. There's a lot of dead air. There's a lot of ads. There's a lot of awkward talk and walks, all that sort of thing. And there's only so much of that you can really do, but you have to kind of create a TV event around that some kind of way, create other games, create other things, take some cues from the match, that they've done so many of these. But the idea is the reason why the match play situation wouldn't work in today's market is because, again, golf is played Thursday through Sunday. Well, you don't want to get into football season. So play it Sunday through Wednesday like they do the Corn Ferry events at the beginning of the season. Take a page from TGL. TGL did much better than a lot of us thought it would. And one of the reasons why is because it was on a Tuesday night where there was nothing on but mid-major college basketball. So if you're not a degenerate gambler or a fan of a school playing on TV and you are a golf fan, you were going to tune into it and have it at least as background noise while you were doing other things. This could be just like that. You're going to get the casual fans. You're going to get the diehard fans. There's nothing going on a Wednesday night in the middle of football season. Why not just play it then?
You could solve the dead air thing that you think pretty easy because obviously the championship round would be 1 versus 2 for the title. You can have everybody, all 30 people play on that last round. You're battling for 29th, 30th. You could just make sure the price, like the dollar awarded for, like, I think it's like something like 21 through 30 all make the same amount of money in the tour championship. You can have every place have a different amount of money. So you're constantly playing for, more money no matter what. So you could you could solve that. And I think it's a good idea. You guys know I'm a huge fan of WGC match play. When that got eliminated over the Zurich Classic, it annoyed the hell out of me. It's always fun in March Madness season to have the golf version of the March Madness, and I think it would work. And then maybe you can work in some bye weeks. You know what I mean? You could make Rory have to play this week and next week to earn his bye week, or if he skips, you lose your bye. Like you lose your spots in that standings there. You know, based off of just how you qualify for the FedEx St. Jude, and then from then on, almost like restart the points, almost restart them for your rankings for the Tour Championship, almost to an extent.
You could go ahead, Steve.
No, go ahead. I was
gonna say what you could do is you could have the first two events and have the groups in pods and have stroke play pods instead of match play pods. That way they have to play 72 holes. They have to post a score each day. And if you win your pod or whatever, then you move on to the second, and then you do it again that way. You have the players in 8-player pods or 4-player pods or whatever. Kind
of like the World Cup, right?
Yeah, and set it up like the Fantasy Golf World Championships on DraftKings, where the top scorer makes it to the next round, and then you do it that way, and then you get to the final 32, or you could cut it to 20 or whatever. I mean, you could theoretically give the top 4 players buys and do it with 12, or and then just play it off from there over 3 days, and then find the winner, and the winner takes home the $170 million or whatever it's up to now.
Dude, we did something wrong in life that we're not playing for $100 billion over the next. I mean, these guys, like, just think about the money that they are playing for over the next couple of weeks. Right. It just kind of, when I think of that prize money, it just blows my mind. For a sport that is struggling to do things right, there is so much money on the line over the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we got the St. Jude Championship this week down at TPC Southwinds in Memphis, Tennessee. It's been there for a little while now. Obviously, like I said, no Rory. So there's 69 golfers. Top 50 make it to the BMW. And, of course, you get into all signature events if you're not already qualified. Rashad, what do we know about TPC Southwind? What are you looking for golfer-wise this week?
So quick story. So this was actually one of the first PGA Tour events I ever went to. I grew up in Starkville, Mississippi, hometown of Philly great A.J. Brown. I wish
I knew I would have rocked an A.J. Brown shirt for you.
I went to this tournament in 1995.
Signed A.J. Brown photo right there,
Oh yeah, yep. We won't talk about his college choices, but he grew up in a good town. But no. So this event's near to my heart. I loved it when it was in June. And I love that it's now an important event because like I said, it's an event that I tied to my childhood. This golf course plays a lot like a Florida golf course, which is interesting because, and you'll start to see that when you look at the history of the event, even before, obviously the course has gone through several renovations. But you look at it before, I remember Daniel Berger won back-to-back of this tournament. Horschel had some good success here. You look at guys that, the crossover for me is Honda or Cognizant. It plays a lot like PGA National for a course that's not near the water, obviously, and it doesn't get the wind effect, but a lot of strategically placed hazards. Driving accuracy is a big deal here. Probably one of the biggest deals here. So I'm looking for guys that can place it in the fairway because, this is one of those courses where, you can make a double bogey at the snap of a finger. So we want to get the guys that are going to avoid those.
Oh, just on 18 alone, half the field will probably make double bogey once this week. Right. Steven, what do you got to add to what Rashad said there?
And I think with those renovations, all 18 greens were resurfaced and redone. Course history for the most part might not be something that could deter you one way or not when it comes to guys who are playing for the first time versus golfers who have tons of experience here. There's some water on holes. There's tons of hazards, all sorts of hazards all throughout. We may not like the setup for the playoffs, but this is definitely a great first course for the playoffs for sure. For what golfers are going to be, challenged with. Huge from 125 to 175 on approach, and the par fives. There's only 2 of them, and that's where golfers are going to get their birdies from, or eagles. So if you could take advantage of those 2 par 5s, all 4 days. You're going to find success here. I think under 16 under wins
Okay.
this.
You talk about the greens, and that's something that's interesting to me because something I've been studying. Like we've seen average or below average putters win at this event. Hideki last year, isn't the worst putter, but he's not the greatest putter. He had a good spike week. There's smaller greens, but I wonder how much that'll matter this week, considering the green structures have all been redone. Again, I think that even plays into it, where as long as you could be a spike putter for one weekend, you can make a run at this title this week, right?
Yeah, and I think that actually favors a guy like Scottie Scheffler because, we always talk about the biggest knock on him is his putting, but now we get on these greens that really nobody's familiar with. I mean, this is almost like playing a major at a course that they don't really go to because everybody's kind of going in blind to some degree. Obviously, the court, there's not going to be a ton of differences, but there's going to be enough that these guys are really going to have to fight for it. So then you're going to look at it. It's either going to really elevate the really good putters, or it's going to bring everybody into the middle. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects it.
On a side note, we always talk about how Scottie Scheffler is not a good putter. I just double checked. He's only lost strokes putting this year twice, and in those events he finished 11th and 4th place. So let's put Scottie's putting is better than 98% of the people in the world.
Yes,
it's just the weakest part of his game.
Standards are up here.
Right. Standards are a little higher than everybody else.
Right.
Now because of that Scottie thing, I kind of lost my train of thought. Completely lost it. But anyway, it's I love what you guys say about the course, and I think it's a tough course, and I think it's going to be interesting. I did hit Hideki last year, so we're going to try to go back to back with our thought process this week. Tried to go back to back last week, it didn't work. So let's take a look at it. We've got the top 4 golfers in the field this week: Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, Russell Henley. I've already bashed Russell Henley once. Scottie Scheffler, the top guy at $13K on the DraftKings board. And I think this week, the question's always to play Scottie Scheffler or not to play, to bet him, to not bet him. He's obviously the favorite to win. But I think his price in this field, some people are saying it should be higher. But I tried to build a Scottie Scheffler lineup before this show went live. And I had a lot of trouble building a lineup of guys I trust that are going to hit fairways, that are going to be great tee to green, that are good scramblers because of the small green complexes and stuff like that. Guys that are, good in that proximity. Like all the things you need, it's very tough to build a lineup with Scottie Scheffler this week because in that low 6K range, how much confidence do you have? I know these guys are going to play 4 full rounds each, but you really want to build lineups with a Brian Campbell, with a Thomas Dietrich, a Bud Cauley, Tony Finau, who's had I don't even know how Tony Finau's in this field without bad of a season he's had. There's what's wrong with this playoff structure. Yeah. So we'll start with you, Rashad. What do you do with Scottie Scheffler this week?
So an interesting fact about Scottie Scheffler is this was the site of his last missed cut. The last year that it was a full field tournament, he missed the cut in 2022. And so he's got a nice little streak going since then. Obviously he finished 4th here last year. But if you look at his results at this tournament previously, it's very middling results. So I'm comfortable fading him. The last time I said that was the Open Championship. And how did that work out? Well, so, I'm comfortable. I think at this day and age, if you're willing to look for reasons to not play him, then don't play him. Obviously do that at your own risk. He won 9 times last year and he's won 5 times this year. I noticed that his ownership has kind of come down. I don't know if it's just because because it's so trendy to not play him. I think we're almost going to get to the point where you're going to play him to be the pivot because of this price. But I am surprised that his price is lower. I thought they would have kept him in the 14K range.
Right now on Fantasy National, his calculated ownership percentage is down to 25.7%, but his actual usage in lineup generators is at 38.2%. So there's a chance he's going to be in that 30%. I'm gonna call it in the middle there and say he's going to be right around 30%. I like you said, you can make a case both ways. Steven, what are you going to do with Scottie?
I'm probably going to end up fading him just because you're going to get you're going to be so much more comfortable with your 6-for-6 lineups versus you're going to have Scottie, you're going to have a low 8K guy, and then a whole bunch of like uncertainty for where you're going to be like, where are they at in the leaderboard for the next, 4 days. And I think Scottie's at 13K simply because DraftKings knows that people are going to be able to defend their choice of playing him by, well, I got 4 rounds with Campbell and, I got 4 rounds with, Harmon or, whoever. But
here's an example. So I did save one build lineup with Scottie and Scottie 13K. I put Ben Griffin at 8,100, JJ Spawn and Bobby Mack at 77. Then I had to dip into Nick Taylor and Nico Echeverria at the 69 and 65. I mean, it's not an awful lineup. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's not.
But that's the best. I mean, I literally stared at the screen for 15 minutes today trying to find a combination that worked. And that was the best. I didn't want to go more than 2 guys in the 6K. And I still had to dip to Nico at 6,500 to make this work. So, I mean, there's a lot of risk reward in doing that. And yes, a lot of those guys I paired with him are guys that are going to be low-owned guys this week. But, there's I think there's too much risk reward there.
You could have that same exact lineup with so many people because they're playing Scottie, though, because they have the same mindset of you as, dang, I just, I can't go with anybody else. And Griffin sounds great. Spawn sounds great. And then before you know it, you got the same lineup as how many people in a GPP or something like that. It's tough. It's tough.
Steven, what about the rest of this range? Xander, JT, Henley. Do you like any of those guys?
I think this is a Xander moment. He's fully back from injury. You can't use that excuse anymore. He's got enough starts under his belt. He's got back-to-back top 10s. So, yeah, I think he is really when it comes to Scottie and actually winning in this range, I think he's the guy who's going to give Scottie a run for his money.
I absolutely slam dunk agree with you on that. Go ahead, Rashad.
It's across the board. I actually like all 4 of the players at over 10K because of, they are the prototype of the type of players that you would want to play this golf course. Great tee to green, solid with the putter. They're winners. And that's what you need to win this event. And I'm actually, it's funny when you look at the ownership for the first time and you think you're being clever, and then you see Russell Henley's 19.4%, and you're like, oh man. No, I've got a bet on X. I'm a Xander Schauffele truther. I'm a big Justin Thomas fan as well. Obviously, you can't deny Scottie's talent and what he's done over the last few years. So, I don't think there's a wrong direction to go with this group. I could see all 4 of these guys finishing in the top 5.
So I've made 3 lineups so far. I did put Scottie in one. It's not a locked in lineup because I'm still tinkering with it, but I have locked in one Xander lineup out of the other 3 so far because I think Xander's going to win it. I don't think I'll play Henley in the 9K range. I think it's interesting because so far the top tipped golfer I believe is in the 9K range on bets, and that's Victor Hovland. And Victor Hovland has had an up and down year. Terrible short game, terrible putter. Got a little bit better this year, not better compared to this field. But everybody's all in on Victor, including me. I placed a bet on Victor as well because I'm not going to miss out on that. You know what I mean? If everybody's in on him, I'm going to be in on him too. But I don't know if he's necessarily the perfect DFS play unless you want to start your lineup at that point at 9,300 where then you could get 2 8K guys mixed in. So Rashad, thoughts on the 9K range, but more importantly, why is Victor a good bet to be the most tipped guy this week?
Because when he's on, he's really on. And it's because it's a tee to green golf course. Victor is either going to be solid from tee to green and when we all know he can putt, or he's going to be missing greens and he's going to be completely out of the tournament. And I think that because of that, in my eyes, he's going to be a very good bet. He's a bet. I've already bet him. But I probably won't play him on DraftKings at that high ownership just because of the volatility of, you just don't know what you're getting with him.
No, I will add on that, though, because there's a guaranteed of 4 rounds, you got to think of guys, what golfers have the best chance to shoot a 62 or a 63? Right. And I would kind of put Victor, like, you're going to get 4 great rounds out of Scottie. But everybody else, you got to find the golfers that are going to have those spike rounds. And Victor Hovland's a guy on Friday or Saturday that can go out and shoot a 63, no problem, and score you. Like, I don't have it in my model, but I have on a side tab DraftKings points scored and where they rank in that range, because that's a very important thing in a no-cut event, in my opinion. Steven, where are you at in this 9K range?
Yeah, I'm to chime in on Hovland. He has gotten T20 or better 4 out of his last 5 trips here, right? So he is that golfer that we talked about that you're looking for. Obviously, he has all the skills here to win when he's locked in and hitting. But he is that golfer that could go get you, like you said, a 62 in a round, maybe even 2. But then for whatever reason on Sunday, be in the second to last group or the final pairing, and then go finish T15, T16, and it's like, well, he still fits the narrative of this T20 or better, and so that's what you get with him. But for the same exact reasons that I like Hovland, I also like Oberg for those same reasons, and I just think I feel like if he just avoids that one goddamn round where he
not even round, that one 3-hole stretch.
Yeah,
those 3-hole stretches every week.
He avoids that, and I mean, he's right up there. He could easily been where Fleetwood is, score or price wise. I think if Rory's here, Henley's not even ranked in the 10K. He's probably the first 9K guy. Those two are my 9K guys.
The first name I wrote down before Xander, even when I did my course research, didn't look at prices or odds. The first name I wrote down to check the odds of were Ludwig Oberg. I didn't land on a bet with him because I didn't like 28-1. He's been inconsistent. He's got those 3-hole stretches, but I think you could do so much worse and have Oberg invested in this week, because he's also, where's his ownership? There it is. He's at like 9% ownership in a limited 70 or 69 man field. Having somebody at 9% ownership at his skill level, that's insane.
It's actually interesting. I wrote down 4 notables for this tournament, and 3 of them are these 9K golfers. One of them was Hovland, who we just talked about. The other was is Cantlay. Three finishes since this has been a playoff event. T57, and then a T2 and a T12. And then the other one that I was actually really surprised at his ownership was Colin Morikawa, who has a T5, a T13, and a T22 here. Those are good numbers for a playoff event. And I feel like if you were going to tailor-made a Colin Morikawa golf course, I feel like this is what it would look like.
I think he's got his 17th caddy in the last 14 weeks, though. Yeah. I did see somebody announce who his caddy's going to be this weekend. It's another new one. Something's going on up here with Colin Morikawa. It's not something in his swing.
A wheel for his caddies.
It's all in his mind. So if I'm going to pick a low-owned guy, it's going to be Oberg or it's going to be Cantlay, not Colin Morikawa, just because there's something mentally going on. Colin Morikawa is going to be that golfer next year that I think probably drops off a little bit more because there's talent there. Don't get me wrong. Go ahead. What's up?
Well, so I was going to say, the last time that we were really that vehement that he was a head case on a Tuesday, he won the Open Championship. So
sure.
Anybody can spike.
Yeah. And in a no-cut event, there's no pressure to miss the cut, so you can have that spike round. So I love that. I kind of like Fitzpatrick a little bit. I don't love Fitzpatrick's ownership at 20% or 19%, but Matthew Fitzpatrick's been playing really good golf. See, the thing is, when in this event, when we get to the playoffs, I normally base all my research over the last 36 rounds. When I get to the playoffs, I trim that down. Last 12 to 24 rounds. I'm looking for the hottest golfers, and Fitzpatrick is a hot golfer right now. So he's kind of someone that I'll probably put a little touch of an investment in. I did bet him because I did like his number. But we'll see about that. So 8K range. Sam Burns at the top of it. Defending champion Hideki's here. You got some interesting names here. You got the straightest hitter in the world in Aaron Rai, which you need to be. And of course, in this range, we got to give a shout out to him. Last week's winner at the Wyndham Championship. Finally, Cam Young, scammer, finally got a W. And I have bet Cam Young over the last couple of years probably 750 times. And, of course, last week I didn't bet Cam Young. So, Rashad, Cam Young and the rest of the 8K range, what are your thoughts?
I actually like Cam Young, and for one reason only, since this became a playoff event. Winners of the Wyndham Championship. Tom Kim finished 13th. Obviously, Lucas Glover went back-to-back, and then Aaron Rai finished 16th last year. So good form is a good way to come into this event. And the way he ball struck last week, and the confidence that he's playing with right now. I mean, we all knew he was a top talent. So if he's now believing in himself, I think this is a great spot for him to continue that run.
Yeah, I mean, do you think of Cam Young as a good putter? When you hear the name Cam Young, do you think of him as a great putter?
No.
No. But because if you go by a smaller amount of rounds like I am, he's second in the field in putting right now. And this is an elite deep field. So I love the idea of Cam Young.
Yeah, he had been trending upwards on this going into this event too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So where are you at, Steven, in this range?
Well, just to add to the Cam Young stuff, I saw this graphic from I think it was the New York Times. 94 events played, 23 of them have been top 10s, 13 top 5s, 7 runner-ups, 6 top 10s in majors, and he was the 2022 Rookie of the Year. And I think because of what the expectations were of him for how good he was, I think that's why we put him up here. But I mean, shit, he's done what Fleetwood hasn't. Like, not to throw shade or anything, but
that's totally throwing shade at Fleetwood.
It realistically, it's why he's been really good. You know, when you say he's second on tour in putting right now, or in this field, yeah. I mean, when you hear those numbers, when I saw that, I was like, damn, I can believe it.
Man, that is you're throwing so much shade at Tommy Fleetwood, man. And I'm absolutely in love with the shade you throw his way. But
he's burned me so many times. Man. So Harris English. Okay. I just think in these fields, I can see why people are on him. He's elevated his game in these fields. He was been T12 or better in 3 of the 4 majors. You know, so he finds his way to the top of the leaderboard.
Does it concern you that this is going to be a 16, 17 under with Harris English? Because to me, he doesn't strike me as a guy that can go that low. He's a guy that wins the grinder events or contends in the 10 under, 11 under type events. 17 seems a little bit of a stretch for me for him to get to. Yeah,
that could be a reason why you got me off of him. But Aaron Rai, if he goes out there and does what he does last week, got me up. But let's talk about Aaron Rai then.
Rashad, what else are you looking at in this range other than Cam Young?
Another one that struck out to me that his ownership is lower than I thought it would be is Sepp Straka. And, you know, going back to your point of winning a 16 to 17 under type of event, I mean, Sepp Straka has kind of proven that he can win any type of event. I mean, he's won the John Deere, he's won an elevated tournament, he's won the Honda/Cognizant. I mean, he's won, and he has, you know, what I would call half a win at this course when he lost in the playoff to Will Zalatoris a few years ago and won us all some money. So I think that, you know, I'm surprised that a lot of people aren't on him. And maybe it's just because he's kind of had some middle performances since the win at the Truist. But, I mean, I would love Sepp Straka at this golf course. In fact, I actually have him in one and done.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Nice. It's actually, he's not available for me at one and done. So, but that's a really good one and done this week. I love this AK range, and I'm really struggling. Like, I like Sam Burns this week. I like Hideki as a defending champion. Corey Connors is healthy. I kind of like Ben Griffin, too. I know Ben Griffin's been a little bit whatever, but this is one of his last chances to prove he belongs in the Ryder Cup. For some reason, it means everything to everybody to be on the Ryder Cup, but for some reason, I kind of feel like out of the guys that are on the fence about whether they'll make the team, it means the most to Ben Griffin to make that team out of all those fringe guys. And I think a great showing this week kind of puts Ben Griffin over the top there. And I think he has it. I mean, people forget. I mean, I know he's played a lot of golf this year, but Ben Griffin's won twice this year. I mean, he is in the top 10 of the FedEx Cup standings for a reason. He maybe burned himself out a little bit in the middle of the season, but I think he's back on par. And I kind of like the Ben Griffin idea this week a little bit.
And this event
there with Scottie.
This event is kind of guys that have won twice too. So Ben Griffin with 2 wins, that puts him in company with some guys that have performed well at this event, regardless of when in the season they've won. Guys that have won 2 tournaments, including the ghost of Nick Dunlap last year, finished in the top 5. So, I mean, it's, I think Ben Griffin's a good play, and apparently a lot of other people do too, because his ownership is getting up there.
Yeah, it is starting to creep up. 7K is where you can get a little creative with the ownership. Obviously, Daniel Berger's a 2-time winner here before it was, the playoff event. Daniel Berger's had a hot start this year. He kind of cooled off a little bit. But I think there's a lot of interesting plays here in this range. Steven, we'll start with you. What do you like in this range and why?
JJ Spawn. Tee to green, has it all. Didn't really fall off too much after winning the U.S. Open. He's gone toe-to-toe with Rory. So, these sort of fields aren't going to scare him. The moment isn't going to scare him, isn't going to deter him. And I think for a guy like JJ, I feel like money is a good drive for him. He seems like a guy who's like, I like to spend money and have fun, sort of deal. So he's got the mental, for this, these 3 weeks coming up. And then Chris Kirk. He has big on him last week. Yeah. I just feel like he has so much more than really anybody from the 8K range down to play for. Where he's sitting to be able to play next week, playing for all the different signature events and everything like that next year, to be able to play all 4 majors, and he's playing the best golf of his season when it matters. You know what they say, going into the playoffs, the team who's the hottest can go win it. So can you imagine Chris Kirk and Scottie Scheffler on 2 weeks going at it in the final pair just because he's the best golfer right now?
Here's the FedEx Cup standings from 40th through the back end, 70. Chris Kirk sits at 61. So he's got to get up 11, 12 spots there. It's doable. It's not likely. Last year, I did write down there were 3 guys that moved into the top 50 last year in the St. Jude. So Chris Kirk at 50 or 61, it's a long shot, but it's not.
Akshay's coming out.
Akshay's definitely coming out of the top 50. I would think Minwoo Lee, Akshay. If you're going to pick 3 guys in that 40 to 50 range, it would be Akshay, it would be Minwoo. And I don't know who to pick for my third in that range. Maybe Pot Geeter or something like that.
This course might be tough for him. Yeah, I was going to say him too. I think.
Yeah.
The Bombers course where he could spread it and accuracy wasn't so much an issue. I would say Pot Geeter, Park Geeter, however you pronounce it, would be good. But I think
I don't know. I'd make it up as I go. What do you guys think about Harry Hall in this range? Top of the 7K range. He has no chance at winning this event in my opinion. But if you want a guy that's going to putt well and score you a lot of points for DraftKings, Harry Hall, the last 24 rounds, is the best putter in this field, and he's the 4th best DraftKings point scorer in this range. I know he sprays the ball occasionally off the tee, which can be a problem. He's prone to make you a couple double bogeys this week, but he's got just as good of a chance as anybody else to shoot 1 round at 63. You know what I mean? And score enough points to help you win an event this week.
Yeah, Harry Hall for me is kind of that one guy. I played him a ton at the beginning of the season, but he always seems like that one guy that everybody talks about every week, and then you never really you see him, or he kind of backdoors a good finish, and then that's enough momentum for guys to talk about him the next week. But I really haven't. Admittedly, I haven't watched as much golf this year as I have in previous years, but I just don't. I feel like the results have not matched the hype with Harry Hall this year, so I won't be on him. But I do like the Berger. The guy I'm actually going to is Bobby Mack. And I think that if Bobby Mack cares and he's striking it, he's as good as anybody in any range. And you were talking about somebody staring down Rory McIlroy. It was JJ Spawn staring down Rory McIlroy. Well, Bobby Mack can do it too. And I think that, he's as good a play as any in this range.
My second biggest dollar bet outside of Xander this week is Bobby Mack. I get everything you say about Harry Hall, but at 7%, all you need is Harry Hall to finish in the top 30 this week. It won't advance him far. I mean, he'll probably make the top 50 with that. but you know, we're talking two different things here. I think Harry Hall is still a safe bet to play. Not a lot, a sprinkle, but man, Bobby Mack. I could see Bobby Mack absolutely coming out this week and winning this event. Absolutely. All right, 6K range.
Yeah.
There's if you want to play Scottie, you got to dip into the 6K range. There are 1, 2, 3. I think I starred 3 names in the 6K range. Nick Taylor, who surprisingly models out really well this week. Emiliano Grillo, Steven's favorite golfer in the world. And Nico Echeverria, who's a hot golfer recently. So Steven, we'll start with you. Are you in on your best friend, Emiliano Grillo? And has he sent you tickets to any events yet?
He has not sent me anything yet. I'm still waiting for those. He fell off last week. I really thought was the week he was gonna, break through, and he just fell off. He didn't play well. But yeah, he's one of the guys though that you can rely on. I feel like in the 6K range, he's just been consistent for the most part of the season. Same with Nick Taylor. But then I also like Justin Rose.
Yes.
I think he was really good across the pond, especially after coming off of back-to-back missed cuts at the U.S. Open and Canadian Open. But his putter, the putter here, I think could be his best friend. And you want to talk about guys who can spike and just get consistent with it. And when he's feeling it, he's feeling it. And I just feel like he can save a lot. He might be in the what is it called? The ultimate lineup for this week. Yeah, I think if you're gonna have Scottie.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about Nick Taylor, who's getting a lot of hype this week, Nick Taylor's projected at about 17% ownership, which is sick. Same exact price, Justin Rose, 4.6%. What would you rather, a 17% Nick Taylor or a 4% Justin Rose? I mean, that's something right there.
I would play a 13% Justin Rose over a 4% Nick Taylor. I mean, if you looked at Justin Rose's stats and didn't know who it was for this year, you would think that golfer is way too good to be 6,900 in this tournament. Yeah. And Justin Rose has had I know, it's peaks and valleys, but there's been a lot of peaks in this season for Justin Rose. And he was one of the first names I started, and I'm actually.
Hold on. You know what? I'm going to defend Nick Taylor for a second because he does have a win this year. He's got 11 top 25s. He's a top 15 approach player, top 25 in accuracy, greens, and regulations. Best finish here. He finished 24th here a couple of years ago. So let's not crush Nick Taylor. Nick Taylor.
No, I think Nick Taylor is a great play. I just think
Nick Taylor is 4%. I'd have Nick Taylor in every goddamn lineup if he was 4%.
I don't think Nick Taylor's a bad play. I just think that's how much I think Justin Rose is a good play. And I actually think Nick Taylor is a really good play as well. I think there's a lot of great play. There's a lot of players that I was surprised were so low price here. And especially if you're going to go with the Honda comp. I mean, you've got Sung Jae, who obviously has been, kind of in the Tony Finau discussion. But Minwoo Lee at 6,800. Gerard at 67, he's done well. He's a Florida guy, and then you've got another 2-time winner down here in Ryan Fox, who's kind of been in the. Hey,
there's a 2-time winner in Brian Campbell. Let's not forget about it.
And Brian Campbell. And again, this is not a long golf course, so it is a golf course that he could be competitive at if he brings his ball striking. So that's.
We don't want to, we talk about Tony Finau for a second. Like, he's completely fallen off. He's had a horrible season.
Oh, he has.
But you know what? Let me tell you something. It's so funny because I have fallen into the trap multiple times this year with Max Homa being priced super low, or his odds being 110 to 1. He's 6,800, whatever. I am not falling trap to Tony Finau this week at 6,500. I don't care if he's 0% owned. There is zero chance that I'm going to he's 5.5% projection. That's 5.5% of idiots right there trying to get tricky and creative and outthink themselves. Sometimes you just don't need to outthink yourself at this point, right?
Yeah, that's brand value.
Yeah, it's not his year.
Brand value, 100%. No, it's not. It's not at all. You do also have to take into account with the ownership that it is a 70 or 69 man field. So ownership number, 15% guy in a regular field might be 12%. If it was a full-fledged field, but. Anyway, did we miss, before we get into the next round part of the show, any names that we missed, guys?
We didn't really talk about Burns a lot, and Burns, I think, is a really good play this year in the 8K range. We kind of glossed over him a little bit, but he was actually my fourth notable He's had some good finishes here, as well. So, and he's played really good golf in the second half of the season. Obviously almost winning in Canada, having a good showing at one of the majors. And so I like him.
It was my third biggest bet this week, Sam Burns. So he was right there for me. When I wrote down the names I was looking at, I wrote down Hovland or Oberg, Hovland, Xander, and Burns. They were the names I wrote down. I did end up putting more money on Bobby once I finished my research, but I do love Sam Burns this week. Absolutely. All right, real quick before we build lineups and do all the other stuff, guys, I got to be thing. I know this week is for St. Jude, but also right here on the STT Sports Network, I'm running a fundraiser for Eagles Autism Foundation. Guys, it's obviously the Philadelphia Eagles' #1 charity that they represent and support. I'm selling $5 raffle tickets, okay? No limit to how many you purchase. What we've got raffled off here, I've got this football autographed by Cooper DeJean and Darius Slay. I've got this photo signed, autographed and framed by A.J. Brown. And don't tell anybody, but I might have a Brandon Graham signed item coming in the mail this week. So there's going to be 3 great raffle prizes. They're $5 each. What you do is you just Venmo me at Phil Stifle. You can win one of these prizes, however many raffle tickets you want to buy. My goal is $1,000. Raised a little over $300 so far. The raffle will run through the end of the month, and on September 4th, before the Eagles kick off against the Cowboys, the NFL season, 7:30, we're going to raffle off all these prizes, guys. So please consider sending a donation to the Eagles Autism by Venmoing me and purchasing some raffle tickets, guys. Hey, this is a week for fundraising. St. Jude, Eagles Autism, whatever it is, let's all consider making something, if you can, towards one of these great charities. All right, so let's get into this right here. The one and dones and the weekly thing. Rashad's got a chance to get his name on the board a second time. I've got 3 weeks to catch Jason. Steven, you have no chance of catching Steven or Jason or I in this thing. There's only 3 weeks left. But you can catch in the one and done. If you pick the winner in the one and done, you can catch us. So, Rashad, who did you use in your other one and done this week, you said?
I used Straka in one, and I don't know, I'm kind of down to the end of the cupboard in the other one. I can't remember. I think I used Russell Henley because I think I don't have anybody really left there.
I think Russell Henley's going to be a heavily used guy in one and dones this week.
Yeah.
Let's do the one and done real quick, Steven. I'll go first. I'm using my Xander bullet this week for my one and done. I saved it all year long. I'm going Xander this week. That is my one and done this week. Steven, if you want to catch up, you can't use Xander, just so you know.
Yeah, I know, and that's where it's...
You want to stay pace with me. Jason picked Russell Henley this week for his one and done. He texted me for the show. I've got Xander. So you got to get creative if you want to catch up here.
Yeah, I got to find who I can even use here now. Where is this at? All right. Well, that just changed everything. I had a feeling you were going to pick Xander too.
Do you want me to change Xander? Do you want me to give you
no.
I will give you
not at all. Not at all. I'm going to go
charity. I can.
Dang. I think I got to go with Justin Thomas.
I
think I might have played him at the.
I'm not tracking your one and done.
Nope. Yep. I'm going to go JT.
He was saying nope and yup at the same time. I didn't know what he was meaning there.
Yep.
I mean,
Thomas.
Let me tell you, I got some good names left here for one and dones. I still have Rory available. I still have Henley. I still have Bobby Mack.
Crap.
I still have Victor Hovland. I still have Sepp Straka. All available in one and dones. So I've got a lot of good names.
You're looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go JT, Justin Thomas.
Where am I at here? I'm only ballpark $200,000 behind Jason. I'm making that up this week right there. All right, DFS lineups this week. Rashad, you're going first. Steve, you're second. I'm going third. Jason's going to follow along and pick a lineup separately after the show, after he sees who we all pick. So let's make sure we use up all the good names here. We've got to pick a really shitty lineup and everything. So, Rashad, you're first on the board with the first pick tonight.
Oh, boy. All right. I'll get your cuss words ready. We'll go ahead and take Xander off the board.
It's okay. I'm okay with that. I have a strategy today. I do. So I'm ready to roll here.
I'm going to take Henley.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start with it. I purposely didn't talk. At the last second there, you brought his name up. I purposely glazed over him because I didn't want to, I didn't want you guys knowing I was on this guy. So I'm going to go Sam Burns with my first pick. And then I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Just since you bashed him for Justin Rose, I'm going to take Nick Taylor with my second pick. So Burns and Scheffler.
All right, I'm gonna go Rose.
I was gonna take him actually.
I kind of purposely set you guys up to argue there. On
There we go. That was good. Well done.
Yeah, well played. Well played. I will go ahead and take last week's winner, Cameron Young.
I like it.
And then with the wraparound, I will take Sepp Straka.
I like it.
All right.
It's hard not to like lineup builds when there's a 70-man or 69-man field. You know, they're all great golfers here, you know, except for Tony Finau.
I'm going to take give me Harris English.
All right. I know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going Christian Kirk with pick number 1.
The receiver?
What?
And Bobby Mack.
Mr. Kirk. And then I am going to go with how do I want to hurt myself? Bobby Mack. Bobby Mack with my next pick. That's right. So Kirk and Mack.
I'm going to go with Spawn.
All right. I'm going to go with Nico, 6,500 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said you took Kirk already. I'll take a name that we didn't talk about just for fun because I feel like I need to be on him at some point. I'm going to go ahead and take Jordan Spieth.
Yeah.
Hey, don't count someone like Jordan Spieth out in an event like this.
No,
you know?
He just scares me to play him in anything. I want him to do well, like personally, but he scares me too much to play him.
He's one of those guys on my I always get him wrong list.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to go with Hideki.
Yeah. This is perfect. This is setting up for a great lineup for me. I'm going Victor Hovland, and I'm going Matthew Fitzpatrick. I love that lineup.
Yeah,
Burns, Taylor, Kirk, Bobby Mack, Hovland, and Fitzpatrick. Damn. I'm a happy man right now. I'm a happy man with that lineup right there.
I was going to say, I don't think you've been happy with many of your lineups.
No, I hate
when it comes to this.
Well,
yeah.
I've had some good lineups lately. They've turned out, but I never like them. But I really like
you never. I'm going to go with Ben Griffin as my final pick.
That was my next pick too. All right. Well, another name we didn't really talk about, so we'll give him a little love on the show because with the Honda comp or Cognizant comp, we'll go with Shane Lowry in my last spot.
He's on my list to play. He hasn't made a lineup yet. I've got a couple more lineups to build. He is on my player pool list, just so you know. I think he's the kind of guy that could definitely, they're saying it's going to be really hot. Is he like, there's something else to really think about this week. Which golfers are in the best physical condition? Who's given themselves a week or two to rest up? Lowry hasn't played much. Has he even played at all since the Open?
I don't think so. There's a lot of guys that haven't.
Yeah.
He was great on the Florida swing.
Yeah. You got to get guys that can play in the heat.
Yeah.
So interesting. All right. So Rashad, I know you put out your bets right before the show. What bets do you got this week?
So I'm at I got Xander at 18, Henley at 25, Hovland at 28, Straka at 32, Morikawa at 35, Cantley at 40, and then Kirk at 80. And I usually do 8, so I've got space for one more. But actually, after talking, and I said it in my post that I was going to save one in case you guys talked me into them. But there's actually 2 guys that I want to play, so I'm going to end up with 9 this week. I'm looking at Burns and I'm looking at Bobby Mack. I think I'm going to add them to my card and be done.
Gotcha. But both Bobby Mack and Burns. I got Bobby Mack at 55-1. I think that number's come down a little bit. I got Burns at 35. I got Fitz at 30. I didn't get Xander at 18. I got him at 16. And I got Hovland at 30. But that's it. And I also, like you, I have room for one more. I'm actually considering. I wonder what Cam Young. What's Cam Young's number? Do we know what Cam Young's number? Can Cam Young go? Can the lid come off and he go back to back?
I think it was 40.
Yeah.
If I can get Cam Young in the 40 to 50-1 range, I might consider it. I really might.
I look forward at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that would be my. If I'm going to consider, I might save my extra bet.
40 to 1.
He's 40-1 right now. I might save my extra bet. Sometimes I like, if I can't decide, I like to save it and wait till the first wave goes off and the numbers adjust. Sometimes you can grab somebody at a really great number, especially in a 4-round no cut event. That somebody that has a bad. That's why I specialize in showdowns. I'm really good at looking at the golfers that have bad first rounds, and their ownership for the rest of the week drops, and then I can really dominate showdowns by lowing guys. You can also dominate betting markets by doing that as well. Steven, where you at?
I have Decky 35-1, Hovland 35-1, Harris English 45-1, Spawn 45-1, and then I did a Scottie win, Xander top 5, and Nick Taylor top 20. That's 40-1.
Like that.
Excellent stuff, guys. We are here. We are finally wrapping up here tonight, but we've got the playoffs starting here. This is a great time for golf. Even though we all hate the playoff format, we all love golf at this time of the year because we got 3 straight weeks of the best play. Real quick, Rashad, this is your last. Maybe I'll invite Sean again this week, but in case it's the last time over the next couple weeks, who wins the Tour Championship this year? If it's not Scottie Scheffler.
I'm going to say Rory.
Okay.
Because he plays East Lake really well. So
he loves
going to be
East Lake.
him or Xander. So him and Xander are always my go-tos when that tournament gets there because they always light that place up.
I love that I don't have to make 2 different bets Tour Championship. Who wins the event and who wins with the points. And, I get to just go in and bet the event. I love that. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Make sure if you haven't already, you like, you share, you subscribe. If you have any questions or thoughts on a replay, I check all replay comments. I'll respond to them. You can find all of us, Rashad 4 Right Golf, or 4 Right Plays, Soldier Steve, Jay Sully 2121 when he's done with practice with Jax because, he's a slacker and he put his kid ahead of Fairway to Heaven. Whatever. It's all good. And I'm at Beard of Knowledge, guys. Everybody have a great night. It's going to be a fun week at golf from TPC Southwind. Bubbles up, guys.